Hello.
Hello, I'm gonna. I
Welcome
was
to
having to
Magical
adjust myself.
Mofos. We always have to adjust ourselves. This camera's really weird when we start off, so there we go.
Let's see, because
All right.
things have to be perfect.
Audio good?
Yeah, cool. Okay, my head's. I'm just gonna crouch down like this. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Magical Mofos.
Don't mind us.
Episode 4, right? Already. That's
Yes,
really
episode
cool.
4.
I'm Diane Lantier of soulrestoration.ca.
And I am Althea Montgomery from creativeclearings.com.
Cool.
.com.
So let's just throw the number out. Oh, Althea, I'm going to put up your little...
There we go. Is it backwards?
No, it's perfect. Well, I can see it okay.
Yeah. You see that I spent a lot of time on this.
602-666-6027 if you want to give us a call. Althea and I are both, we're doing clearings, taking your calls, helping you bust through anything that might be blocking you or limiting you or, anywhere things aren't going the way you would like them.
Concerns? Sorry, we're overlapping a bit. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's a bit of a lag. No, I was just saying anywhere that you're, things aren't going the way you would like them to, or anything, really.
Yes, anything. Anything you'd like to add. We love it when you call in so that we can... Oh, the phone lines are there. Yeah, it just popped up at the bottom. You see that? Right when I made my sign.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, call in, ask us questions. It really helps other people when you call in. We have a lot of fun. If you want to clear up something, if you want to add something, if you want to just talk and play and all that jazz, let us know. We wanted to talk about the word of the week, though, while we're waiting for some callers. The word is authentic.
You can't do word of the week, though, because then I'll have to come up with something every week, and it'll become a
Well, we are going to do the word of the week possibly very inconsistently. We're going to do the word of the week whenever we feel like it, because that's just how it is.
Love it.
Right? So how's that? That feels better.
So this week, we have a word of the week. We may never have another again.
Please don't count on it, but you never know.
And so it is, what was it? I keep forgetting the word of the week is authentic. Yes, I have been, it's very interesting. The more I get into the tools of access, the more I am curious about the energy of behind the words. Like, I guess I look them up now in a way that I never did before, and they do that in Access. They look at the sort of what the words have meant in the past or what they mean, and so it's very interesting. To me anyway, I've been looking up. Just going to type.
Yes.
You and I were talking about this last week, that most of the meanings of the word authentic have to do with being, and so what the reason I looked it up, I'm interrupting myself. The reason I looked it up is so many people talk about being authentic, right? Living authentic lives, and there was like a heaviness to that for me, and I wanted to figure out why. And again, I'm been studying a lot of Access, so I use a lot of that stuff. But in Access, they say truth is light and a lie is always heavy to you, right? Like what was a true or a lie to you may not be the same for me. But so when I would hear the word authentic, now I kind of get that it was this heaviness of, for me, it didn't mean, anyway, whatever that is. So I looked it up, and most of the definitions, right, because you and I were looking at 3 or 4 different online dictionaries, and 95% of it is to do with being the true copy of something else, which is really interesting. Yeah, because most people, when they use the word authentic, they are, I just keep looking at the hosting place to make sure we're not missing any callers. People usually are, when they're talking about being authentic or living an authentic life, they're I think, referring to being themselves, right? But when you look at what the word means, like it refers a lot to like an authentic copy or an authentic replica or authentic cuisine, you know, so like authentic Italian food, you know, it's like
so it's the best version of that copy, like to identically copy it, but it's actually the exact opposite of what I always thought it to be and what the meaning was supposed to be. Like, I am being authentic, I'm being just me, but it's like, no, that's where the weirdness is with the words. And it's really fascinating how many words don't have, like we were talking about passionate earlier, and we were talking about compassion a few weeks ago. And, you know, it just gives people something else to ponder and be aware of, that you might want to stop using certain words, or at least check into it and see if that's the type of energy that you want to be putting out there. Because sometimes it could be, it's not necessarily the energy.
I'm not hearing you very well.
You can't hear me?
No, I mean, I can hear you, but it's like really, really low.
Oh, weird. Is that any better? So weird. Maybe I'll just shut up then.
There we go. It's good
better?
Yeah.
Well, it's just the idea of, we go around using certain words every day and we just take for granted what they mean. And most of us never stop to really ponder what the impact of those words are. And it may not exactly be the definition of that word. It could be maybe someone's intention behind the word, but it's really worth it to look up in the dictionaries and see what's the original meaning of that, because you've been doing some deep research on these things, and I'm like, ooh, no wonder that word always felt a little off or weird to me. But people are going around using certain words. Deep. No, it was a lot deeper than I was going. It's like, she's thoroughly researching these words. It's really worth it.
There are, you know, a synonym is genuine, and there are some examples of, you know, sort of being. So, you know what? I'm going to take these off because this keeps sort of going back and forth as I'm moving my head, and it's really annoying me. So I'm just going to take them off. Like authoritative, having a genuine, original, or authority. Like, so some of it is about being, but it doesn't go to like just really being your unique self, which is what I think is how people are using the word. But there's so much in, you know, when you start looking at all of the different versions or the different definitions for authentic, where it's like
that it's actually meaning what the exact opposite of what people were intending it to mean. That's the funny thing about the word authentic. You think it's this one of a kind, special, just this one of a kind, there's nothing else like it, and it's actually, no, you're the perfect copycat of someone or something else. So I did find that really interesting.
Wasn't there something around I'm just checking in to see. We don't have any callers yet, so if anybody wants to call in and work on anything, get some clearing done, or so it's 602-666-6027 if you want to call in. In the meantime, we're just going to keep chatting. So there was something. Oh, remember there was the musical church stuff?
Yes, vaguely.
Here's one. Made or done in the traditional or original way, or in a way that faithfully resembles an original. That really struck me when I read it. Based on facts, accurate or reliable. So whose facts? Which leads to the question, when you're being authentic, like according to what? based on what? In comparison to what?
Whom.
Right?
Still, it's like needing permission.
Like who isn't being authentic?
That opens up a big can of worms.
Are we only being authentic when people like us? Are we only being authentic when we fit a certain thing? Like, is the person who commits murder not being authentic in that moment? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's very, it's bizarre.
It's a lot going on. A lot going on. I find that one of the words that we use so often that's so misconstrued is the word want.
Wait, here's the other thing.
That is so crazy. Go ahead.
We can go to that one, but let me finish here. In existentialist philosophy, so we're back with authentic. In existentialist philosophy, relating to or denoting an emotionally appropriate, significant, purposive, and responsible mode of human life. So there's no judgment in that at all.
None. That didn't make my head spin at all. No.
I mean, what does emotionally appropriate mean? And purposive.
Well, you have to have someone judging it. Who says what that is?
So if you're not purposive, if your life isn't purposive, whatever that means, then you're not being authentic. Like, what the hell is that? Like, that's not, I mean, it's the opposite of being authentic if you have to fit something, some kind of like ideal or goal or life path, or I don't know. Oh, this is what I'm saying. It just felt so heavy to me. And there was something too in the, where that word came from, the origin. I remember there being something.
You said authenticus.
Authenticus. Anyway. Origin. I'll just take a look for if I can find it.
All right, and I'll just keep talking. So
yes.
The point of this, of bringing up these words, is for you to just play around and be more aware with what you're actually saying. What are the words you're using? Do they even mean what you're intending for them to mean? Because oftentimes they really do not. As you can tell with this word authentic, many of the definitions are the exact opposite of what people are trying to convey when they're using that word. Yeah. And it happens a lot more than just with this word. Like, we do use the word want a lot of times. It's such a common word, like I want this, I want that. And wanting is not having. It's just not. Wanting means it's out there and it's going to be out there forever. It's something I want.
Well,
that's
wanting,
not the having.
To want is to lack.
Yeah, to lack.
Very.
But it's so in our regular conversations that most people don't even think to take a look at it and maybe even question what they're talking about, you know. I don't know about.
I found that
another one, a good one.
Oh, go on.
Oh, I was just saying, you found it. What's the origin?
Oh, and we've got, hey, Emma's back. Okay, Emma, hang on for a minute.
We're just gonna back.
Or Bill, go ahead and put Emma through, and we'll just keep talking, and you can connect Emma.
How do I do this?
Bill was our studio guy for anybody. I keep referring to Bill, but so.
One moment, I'm gonna patch Emma through, or attempt to. Bear with me.
No, you don't do that. No, you don't do that. Bill does that.
Bill, what am I doing? See? Thank you, Bill. Hi, I'll be right back.
Are you there, Althea? You don't have.
I am currently phasing out of trying to be all things to all people all the time.
You don't have to patch anybody through. Bill takes care of that.
I'm calming down. I'm realizing that now.
Okay. So
thank
authentic.
You, Bill.
Okay, so the definition. Let me go back to the authentic thing. So I had a real bee in my bonnet about this word this week. The Middle English authentic from Anglo-French, authenticus, Greek authenticus, from authentis, perpetrator, master. And then akin to Greek, something to accomplish, and the Sanskrit sanoti, he gains. So none of these things, like perpetrator and master, I don't see how any of these things have anything to do with with being authentic or having, living an authentic life. So in the Merriam-Webster, they're talking about, so again, was worthy of acceptance or belief as conforming to or based on fact. So that's like paints an authentic picture of our society, conforming to an original, so as to reproduce essential features. Made or done the same way as an original. So these are three of the ways to define authentic. There's number 2 was not false or imitation, real, actual, but the example is an authentic Cockney accent, which is still reproducing something else, right? So you're a real actual copy of the original. You're not a fake copy. You're a real copy of the original. Okay, so this was the other one. Then I'm like, this one's closer to what we think it is. True to one's own personality, spirit, or character, is sincere and authentic with no pretensions. So that's where we go into the judgment. Like, what is the pretension? Like, what is that? What is having pretensions? And it goes back to that sort of that other definition I had before. Was somebody's muted? It was that other definition we had before. I don't know. The other definition.
Oh,
Emma?
Hello, Emma. I was like, there is somebody lightly talking in my ear that's not you.
Stay on, no, Emma. We're almost done talking about this.
Hear me or not? Okay.
Can you speak up a little bit?
Fine, go. Can you hear me now?
Yes, that's better.
Okay. Okay, good.
Okay, Emma, just give us a minute. We're going to finish this. So that kind of goes back to what we were talking about, Althea, before that other definition that was about, I don't know, living a certain way or, without pretension. So somebody's got to judge what that is, right? It's absolutely. So anyway,
moral of the story: stop using that word. It sucks.
Well, no, I mean, we can't tell people not to use it or use it, but
I'm kidding.
I know, but I had to say it. I had to say it, but
I'll be rebellious, and she'll just say something nice after and cancel out what I just said. Just think about what you're saying.
Yeah, be aware. Be aware of
Be aware.
What you're actually saying. I just think that authentic thing is very interesting because it doesn't mean what people think it means. I don't think that word means what you think it means, as they say in The Princess Bride.
Yeah, and it's very often promoted as being a really positive, uplifting word. And now if you just look into it a little bit, it's the opposite of what most people are really intending it. So just fascinating. If the more awareness you have, wow. You may, I find myself daily checking my words and going, is there another word that I could use rather than this? Like, I stopped using understand as much as I could, and I'll say comprehend just to get my, whatever I'm trying to convey. But understand, once you brought that up probably a few months ago, it never felt good. Like, I don't want to stand under someone or something.
I usually will say,
what does that even mean?
I'll usually say, like I get. But understand that's something that I picked up in Access. It's that you have to stand under someone else's truth. So when you're trying to understand someone or something, like what they're saying, you can almost physically feel yourself sort of squishing down or like here's my visual, like, what?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
like you're
get
kind
it?
of making yourself smaller and standing under what they're saying in order to get it, in order to comprehend it. Because it just, instead of just saying, yeah, it's just not, that just doesn't work for me, or, you know, in order to understand, and sometimes you just on the same page, then you're not trying to understand. But anytime you go into that sort of energy of, I don't understand, well, maybe there is nothing to understand. Maybe you don't have to.
Yeah.
Maybe you can just be an allowance for what the person is saying or doing, and you don't, you know, because if you have to change any molecule of you to understand somebody else's truth, then you're changing a part of you in order to fit their world. And I guess that's where all of that's my interpretation of that anyway. So, hey, Emma.
So,
Hi.
Emma.
How are you? Oh, and we've got somebody else after. We've got Grant. So Grant, hang on, please, and we'll get to you after we've talked to Emma.
Yay!
Yes, I will.
Thanks for calling. How have you been, Emma? Hello? You got some choppy connection.
Hang on.
Can you hear her?
Is that better?
Yeah, a little bit.
Try again.
Is that okay? Is that better?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, cool. I am curious what you're talking about with the words. What is the feeling that both of you get about the word light worker?
Oh, Emma, that's cute. That's a very loaded word.
I know, that's why I asked.
Well, I mean, for me, when I tap into it, I'm also picking up on other people's meanings around it. So,
yeah.
I'm not really a big fan of the word work. That has a lot of heavy negative energy with it. So, lights are great. They're sparkly. They help me see in the dark. Work is not my favorite word. So I don't know. It has a lot of energy attached to it that I don't really buy into and I don't really resonate with. So, I get the meaning behind it when people use it, but yeah.
Well,
totally.
I used to buy into that that paradigm, I guess, that word. I considered myself a light worker, but it's interesting now, you know, I'm really, really stepping away from polarity. I'm trying to anyway, or I'm becoming more aware of polarity and when I'm functioning in polarity, because really, and I almost posted this today, polarity keeps you out of possibility, right? Because the moment you are believing in polarity, then you've got to put everything within that polarity. You've got to understand the world around you within the polarity that you're buying. And so when we're talking about light workers, and this happened, I had a session with Graham Crosskill, what was it, a week and a half ago now? And as we were talking about working, because I do energy work, but I also have I don't even know what to call it anymore, a day job, a regular job, whatever. And as we were talking about this, that old sort of idea of, light workers are put in the dark. They're like, you don't put a lighthouse in the middle of the city, you put the lighthouse in the dark to shine the light. And it was like, oh, that is such old energy. It's just such, and I thought, wow, I don't need anything to validate my choices. And it almost felt like that old record was playing to validate my choice to work where I work. I mean, it's not dark, but you know what I mean? And so so it's interesting that you're asking about it, because I had in that moment that awareness of what, like, that's really old energy for me anyway. It's not true anymore. And at the same time, if you're a light worker, like if that you then you're in the polarity of light and dark. So right away, there's something there that just isn't true for me anymore, right?
I was the same way, and I resonated with that light worker stuff a lot for many years, and I do not anymore. And it was always this energy of I'm fighting something. There's always something to be fighting. That fight with the darkness, fight,
Yes.
and I'm like, I dropped it a few years ago. I'm like, that never really felt right to me, but you just hear it, and oftentimes it's presented to you in such a juicy way that, yeah, you're a light worker, and they make it sound like you're here to do great things and bring consciousness, but it's a nonstop battle, and you feel like you're just constantly going uphill, and that's why I don't do it anymore. But I was very much in it for a while too. But
That's
I just
a really
don't
good point, Althea. That's a really good point. The battling thing, and it actually creates the separation that it what's the word that it purports. Wow. To end, right? So it's a good word, right, Althea?
I have to see what purport means. Let me check that. It may not be acceptable.
PURPO. Were we playing Scrabble now?
No. This week we're playing Scrabble.
PURPO.
Yes, good word.
I know. I think it's the right word. So the light worker concept creates the separation that it purports to try to end, if that makes sense, right? Because you have to create that separation between light and dark. You are also now separating the light worker, the empaths, the psychics, the people who are here on a mission from everybody else.
And we have to judge. You're bad, you're doing bad, you need help. It's a lot of judgment involved in that too, but it's made to look all sparkly and bright.
Yeah.
So what about you, Emma?
What was your...
The energy, I feel like I was introduced to the concept by someone I adore, and when she would use the word, I would feel a comfort, a buoyancy, an expansion, but also a slight heaviness as well. Like this, and lately, as I've heard the word come or heard myself use it, it was like, it felt like a burden, actually. I was like, oh, man, do I fucking have to?
Yeah, because you're in battle. It gets tiring.
Yeah.
Yeah. And almost this, you assign this responsibility to yourself to bring people up to a vibration. It's like, I'm here to bring this person to here, or these people to here, or to hold this vibration here. It's like, that's a lot of energy. I like to just do that. So that's what I was aware of, like, especially this.
It's also like Althea said, having to judge somebody in order to say, well, I need to raise your energy. Like that, if that person desires to raise their energy, they can just choose it. They should be choosing to do that as opposed to,
It's a losing battle trying to change people. And I've had people flat out beg me for help before, verbally. Help me, help me, help me. And when I checked in later, energetically, they never really wanted the help and change.
True story.
So I wasn't even in the judgmental side of it, where I wasn't looking at it that something's wrong with you, I need to change you. They were coming to me, begging me for help, yet they didn't want it. And I have since come to the big awareness and allowed myself to just stop. I am not responsible for other people, and the best way that I can bring more light or consciousness to the planet is to just be me and be happy, feel good, and then people can choose that if they want. And if they don't, that's okay too. I'm not going to beat myself up chasing people saying, get over here, let me clear you. Get over here right now. You're not good enough. You asked for my help, you're going to take it,
But even when it's not happening, even if it's not happening that dynamically, right? if you are stuck or in that energy of I am a light worker, therefore I have this mission on the planet, blah, blah, like the minute you're like, I've got a mission, wow, like, isn't that heavy? I mean, you know, a lot of this lingo and terminology that, I don't know, for me anyway, there's a heaviness now that it's like, no, I want to get rid of all of those oaths and vows and promises and contracts and just, you know, choose, you know, just choose being more of me. Like Althea was saying, when we're the gift, then we just have to, well, we don't have to, but it's just about being more of us instead of like trying to fit into like these concepts and these places and spaces that, I don't know. We can tell you how we really feel if you'd like.
Yeah. We're holding back a little bit here, just a little bit.
I don't think I am. So,
I'm totally
so
joking.
Emma, is that kind of what you were getting?
Are you still there, Emma? I may have lost her. Yeah, I don't hear her, but
like, I do not like what they're saying.
like, this is not light worker material. You're fired.
Does that mean we're dark players?
I don't know. I don't have a problem with people using the word light worker at all. I mean, that's the whole point of what we do too, is just being neutral, non-judgmental. Like, you do your thing. It's just not my jam. You know?
Yeah.
It's not something I'm interested in.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I wonder, I don't know if Emma's gone. Well, let's go to Grant, I guess. Since we're not getting Emma, can we go to Grant? Please. Hello?
Hello?
Hello.
Hi. I thought I heard someone there.
Okay, well, we can just keep talking. I know Bill said he had some problems with the last show, but...
Yeah, there was some problems with the, one of the wires. Sorry,
people. Okay, let's fix that energetically. So whenever, Bill, I guess whenever you've got one of them on, just let us know, or whoever's on, just speak up. We can keep talking about words.
Yeah. Yes, we can. Scrabble night.
That was a good one, though, about Lightworker, because I honestly, I until about a week and a half ago, I wasn't even aware of that. Like, until that whole thing came out about, like, came up in my session around lighthouses.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so, yeah,
that's
it's
awesome.
a pretty new for me, yeah.
Yeah, I had some awarenesses about that a few years ago, and I'm like, that just feels really tiring and exhausting, and that whole spiritual warrior. I love the warrior stuff, but at some point, like, it gets tiring. I don't want to be fighting. I want to play and have fun, and it doesn't have to be this whole struggle thing that most people's construct on this planet is struggling. Struggle, work hard, suffer, that proves something, like if you didn't earn it. And I don't know, when I hear that, it literally sends shockwaves through my body now for the past few months. I'm like, work hard, what? What does that mean exactly? I feel like I'm dying.
And even in the spiritual world, and that's one of the interesting dichotomies, is that, you know, in the sort of spiritual world or healing world, there's often this sort of ideal of struggle, right? So it's interesting because,
right? You got to earn it.
Yeah, you got to earn it. You can't just...
A lot of religious stuff too, you know.
Yeah. So do we have anybody on the line?
I hear someone.
I'm not sure if you can actually hear me now. Should I actually be talking or not?
Hello?
Am I hearing Bill?
You're hearing someone.
Are you hearing Bill? Are you hearing Grant? Are you hearing
Is that Grant?
Oh, I can hear myself echo.
Hello?
I can hear myself.
I can hear Emma, I think. And maybe...
We're having a party!
Do we have
Emma.
four-way call.
This is perfect, because we're going to have a four-way now.
Is this Grant? Yeah, let's have 4 people.
Woo-hoo, let's do it.
Rock on.
Woo!
Okay.
Hi, Grant.
Welcome.
Because it's interesting, because the idea of light worker did actually resonate a bit. And from my point, I go to light bearer, and I don't do light dark, I do light heavy.
Ah.
Mm,
I like that.
Light bearer.
that is interesting.
That does have a lighter sensation for sure. Yeah, it doesn't have
So
the charge.
talk more about this
Have the charge
light bearer concept.
That's moving a lot. There's a lot going on there. Light bearer.
Grant?
Light heavy.
Did we just list them again?
No, are you still there, Grant?
So for light bearer, I'm still here.
Tell
Can
me
you hear
more
me or
about
not?
the light bearer thing.
Well, it's actually just like my path, I guess, education. I don't know how you want to put it. Prior to Access Consciousness, I was doing something else, and they actually worked on the idea of, we're all light bearers here. And it was the idea of actually, okay, now we've got a knowledge, an ability, a characteristic, and we actually go out into the world to go and actually share that. As opposed to, oh shit, there's work to be done here. Oh, do you allowed to swear on this? Or sorry. Oh no, there's work to be done here. It's a matter of, it's like, we're actually just showing up.
Yes.
So it's like, show up
that
right
feels
in.
nice.
That does feel really good.
But
I don't know.
then-
Am I
but
supposed to be
then
on the line still?
Emma's
then
still
does-
there,
The
right?
last time I actually had 3 girls say they were really good.
Yeah. It's a good sign.
Yes.
But then,
Lucky fella.
But then you're still functioning from the light dark polarity.
No, actually, it's a
You're
light
talking
heavy.
about-
Not light dark, it's light heavy. So is it true for me? It's light. If it's not true for me, it's dark, or it's heavy, I mean.
So as a light bearer,
So, for example, if I go out...
you are following the choices that are light in terms of light heavy.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so
But you're
for
not,
example, I'm actually,
bearing
rather
the
than doing
lightness
what someone else
in the
wants me to do.
Grant
I'm
will
showing
not
up.
be controlled. I think that's what I got from what he just said. He's going to do what he wants to do.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's accurate, but that's what I'd like to do.
I applaud that.
So you're not
That's
talking about I'm bearing the lightness for the world. That's not what you're saying.
No, I'm saying I'm actually showing up in the light that's true for me. So rather than the idea of it actually, let's just say, okay, I'm sitting there at work and there's 40 people there, and they're all grumbling and griping about what the boss just told them to do.
Yeah.
And I think, well, actually, that doesn't line up with me. I'm actually just comfortable saying, it's like, okay, we're here, let's just do our best.
Sorry, there's a little bug around. Right.
Funny with 4 on, every once in a while things get cut off. There's a delay feature.
I totally agree with you, Grant. I feel like my chest just expanded hearing that. I like that. That works for me.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. Nice sensation.
So what else is coming up?
Yeah, what else would you guys like to chat about?
You guys want to, Grant, did you have something that you were calling in with specifically, or shall we just have a general chat? Or
Well, it's interesting because I don't think I've actually ever witnessed you guys to have a general chat with callers on. Usually someone calls and it's like, yeah, this is my problem. Please deal with it for me.
Yeah,
well,
this
it's
is
only
the first
episode
time we
4.
got to chat. What? That's what we're here for.
Chatting's
chatting, let's
fantastic.
just
I'm
get
always
to
really
it.
good at that. I can also bring up, like, my victim gripes as well. But, chatting's fantastic. I love that.
Absolutely, because
Especially
it's
over
still
the discussion
moving
we
so
have
much
of-
energy. Tell us more about. I do want to know more about, like, when you find yourself in a situation where people are grumbling and griping. I'd like you to go a little deeper into that, because that's interesting. I've never heard anyone describe it in that way, being like the light bearer and light and heavy in that sense. So I'm kind of curious if you're still there.
Well, the idea of, yeah, I'm still here. So there is a bit of a delay, so that's why there might be the...
Okay,
Yeah.
Thank you for telling me.
Well, it's neat, actually, because I see you guys on the YouTube link, and there's like a noticeable delay there. So it's like, okay, so
Yeah.
As I watch you, it's not close here. But anyways, we won't touch on that. But what I try to do is I'll try. That's a neat word. Interesting about word choice, actually, because we're actually talking about the idea of your word choice. And I've been labeled as the word police many times because it's like, wait a minute, now what's the energy behind that word? And my intention is always to go and actually make sure that my energy is actually showing up how I'm trying to communicate. And I realize that isn't always the case.
Yeah, are you trying to be really authentic, Grant?
Are you trying to be authentic, Grant?
I'm trying to show up authentically, yes.
Oh, that's great. Okay, go ahead. Sorry, I had to. You know, I'm a little bit of a smart.
So many things to come forward. This is another one, actually, because it's neat, because my brain definitely works on overdrive sometimes, where it actually has multiple stories coming down, and it's like, oh, which one am I actually going to grab? Like, which one is actually like in alignment with how I'm going right now?
Mm-hmm.
That's fun.
But so the idea of, I think you had mentioned the idea of like the griping, right? If I wanted to return back to that topic, it's like when in the past, I'd shown up and it's like mom mentality had said something, and it's like, oh, I've actually sat there and it's like, oh, well, I will actually bend down and actually do what the mom is saying, as opposed to standing up in my own. And more recently, it's like, no, forget that. It's like, I'm not in alignment with that. I'm not going to actually go and reposition myself to go and actually align with the other people here. I'm just going to really say, like, no, that one doesn't quite drive. I'm just trying to think of where that.
Well, I mean, I think that we can really. I mean, it's really up to us to carry ourselves. I guess if you want to go with the light bearing thing, it's up to us to carry ourselves through whatever situation we're in, right? And I've been telling people for years, when I work with clients, if you're not in danger, you know, if you're not in physical danger in a relationship or in a work experience, if it's just that you're not happy there, or somebody's annoying you, or you know what I mean, when you're not in danger, you get a lot more benefit out of, you know, working that stuff out and finding a way to be you, to be at peace with the world around you, and then carry yourself through that. Because if you just keep changing situations around you, hoping things change, I mean, you're still there, and the stuff that you're carrying within you is still there. So if you can work stuff out within the situation that isn't great for you, then you're at an advantage, because I mean, we can be at peace. You know, I've seen people. I remember going to the Dominican Republic like 20 years ago when I was in my, it was a long time ago. And there was.
She's digressing.
Yeah.
No disclosure there. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just remember, you know, from our, you know, I guess from there's a lot of poverty there, and the people I met were very happy, right? Like everything is just perception, really. So I don't know. To me, that's what it is. If people at work are grumpy or something's going on, I don't have to choose that as well, or anywhere, which is kind of what I love about, and you know, this isn't an access show. It's just that I happen to really like the tools of access, but that's one of the things I enjoy about access. Yeah. But that's one of the things that I enjoy about access is that whole idea of like, who does that belong to? So you can show up as you anywhere and not be affected by what's happening around you, you know. And if you are, then that's fine. But you know, to acknowledge that that's a choice is such a powerful thing.
It's an interesting choice too, though. Like I know. Actually, not even in the most recent past. Because what I do is not only, so I pick this up from someone else, but then I actually own it, and I take ownership of it. And so then it's a matter of, like, you know, who does it belong to? It's, well, me, because I made it mine. So with regards to the access tools, it's like I not only do that, who does it belong to? It's like, you know, did I make this mine, and can I still return it? But I've recently moved into the idea of, sorry.
Oh, no. I was just, go ahead. It's the delay.
I've recently moved into the idea of, like in the past, I guess 5 years ago or so, it was realizing it's like, I've got a lot of self-judgments I'm putting on. So what I would do is I would be bringing up the self-judgment I'm holding on to and actually basically releasing it, at the point of view or other tools I have, just to go and actually remove these judgments I'm holding on to. And then I noticed recently what happened was, what I was doing is I was creating them to go and actually release them. It's like, what the hell am I doing that for? Why don't I just not do them in the first place? And it was the conscious choice of saying, it's like, okay, I'm not judging myself anymore, which was an interesting choice, because it's like, okay, something that was that ingrained pattern, and it's like, now the judgments are refined, and it's like, wait a minute, like, what's going on there? But the notice of actually saying, it's like, okay, not doing this, and making that choice and actually leaning into it. It's funny, you'd think it's like, well, just make the choice. And it's like, well, actually having just made the choice, it's like, it doesn't seem as easy when I've decided I'm going to make this choice to actually have that choice stick. Because the neural pathways are all set that it's like, well, this is how I operate. So it's really
it's fun
take a breath
too,
and
though.
go,
We get caught in that clearing stuff. Like, I want to clear something else. That's fun. Whee!
Yeah.
I don't want to get rid of this problem because it's fun to clear.
And I'll create a new one just in case I've cleared the last one.
Yeah, that's a really cool insight. That really, really is. Just choose it. Like Diane was talking about something the other day where she was just getting deeper and deeper, and then she's like, I'm done. Like, we all get to that point where you just go through something so much and you try to figure it out and backwards and forwards, and then you're just like, hold on, I don't have to do this anymore, and I'm done. No more talking about it. I'm just done, and it just goes away.
Yeah. I took Bars and Foundation this last week, and it just finished yesterday. And yesterday I was having sessions done on me. It was like 3 hours, really. And these ladies were processing stuff with me, and like I was on the cross, and we were working on all of this stuff, and one of the ladies said, so are you willing to step off the cross? And I was like, no. And I didn't express this, but what was going on inside was that, well, if I step off, somebody else is going to have to get up. So I'm going to stay here so that nobody else has to get up on it, And she was like, okay. And then we kept talking. And then the next thing we're talking about is like, who's going to take the nails out? And can I do it? Can I just like push them out with my energy, or can I invite everybody to come and take them? And then all of a sudden I was like so aware of how I was getting into these details and how ridiculous it was. And I was like, you know what? I am done now. I'm stepping down. And I saw myself step down and then like curtsy, like on stage, like at the end of the theater, like a play, like, okay, it's done now. Oh my God. The stuff that I've been putting myself through, right? Anyway, the ridiculousness. So, yeah.
Well, it's interesting we have to get to that extent before we're willing to make the choice.
Well, not always, but yeah.
As opposed to just realize, well, because like, okay, I'm talking about me. Let's be honest here.
We've all been there at some point.
Of course.
Yeah, it's happened.
The other thing actually that links to that's coming up for me is the idea of requiring myself to be a healer and therefore take problems from other people and I'll heal it for them.
Yeah. So everything that is, will you destroy and uncreate it all?
Woo!
I've been destroying that shit for a while and it's still not going.
So everything.
I think it's like I destroy and uncreate it, and I think I really want that, so I take it back.
Oh Lord.
I'm willing to destroy and uncreate that, yes.
Yeah, right, wrong, good, bad, POD, POC, all 9 shorts, boys and beyond. So are you ready to destroy and uncreate all of your vows, oaths, promises, communities, fealties, contracts across all lifetime, space, and dimensions to being a light worker and a healer and fixing people? Will you destroy and uncreate all of that?
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, POD, POC, all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds.
What it is, am I willing to release the adrenaline and power rush of actually having that capacity?
So everywhere that you've decided that's the only way for you to have that and be that, will you destroy and uncreate it all?
Yeah.
Right, wrong, good, bad, POD, POC, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds. So so now that you're aware of that, what if you focused on what that be like what that be, and then just ask, what can I add to my life today to be that, to be more of that?
Interesting. What I realized right now is the awareness of the energy in my head around my third eye, actually.
I'm clearing your head too, Grant. I'm doing some stuff.
Oh, okay.
I know this
You
one.
can't see
Yeah, I just got someone coming in.
What is it? Say that again, Diane.
Oh, I said you can't see my hand, but I'm going to.
Yeah, we're clearing you at the same time.
Well, the video's delayed anyways, right?
In,
So I wouldn't see it.
Yeah, you're getting...
Yeah. So how is that now when you go to that you get the rush? So
well,
Grant,
there's
would you be willing, Grant, to be would you be willing to not have that rush? So everything that is, will you just try and uncreate it all? Right, wrong, good, bad,
yeah.
POD, POC, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds.
I'm just kind of wondering, everywhere you're not even acknowledging that you are that rush, that's just what you be. You're that rush. It's kind of like that orgasmic feeling. You already be it. And you can continue to do what you're doing, to choose to do what you're doing, helping people in that way without doing it from that old healing style of needing to take on their stuff and it's a battle.
Yeah, and everywhere that
the idea of being aware of it.
Everywhere that you're suppressing any of that rush being, right? Anywhere you're suppressing any of that or dimming your light because it's too much for the planet, and therefore you're compartmentalizing it and labeling it and everything that is, will you destroy and uncreate it all? Right, wrong, good, bad, POD, POC, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds.
So what kind of a compartmentalized system have I actually installed in my stomach right now, which is actually holding on to all the shit that I picked up from other people?
Well, what is it? So even if whatever it is, will you just try and uncreate it all now?
I don't believe I can, but yes.
Okay, so
no self out there.
Everywhere that you've decided that you can't. So all the reasons that you can't. So Grant, bring up all of that energy of what you can't do, of what you can't let go of, and say, interesting point of view.
Interesting point of view. I have this point of view.
Yeah. Again.
Interesting point of view. I have this point of view.
Again.
Interesting point of view. I have this point of view.
And everything is the opposite of what it appears to be. Nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be.
Everything is the opposite of what it appears to be. Nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be.
Again?
Everything is the opposite of what it appears to be. Nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be.
Okay, right, wrong, good, bad, POD, POC.
Everything is the opposite of what it appears to be. Nothing is the opposite.
So
Funny, it seems like a self-imposed limitation.
Of course.
So anywhere I've actually determined that I needed to impose a limitation upon myself.
Right. Everywhere you've bought and sold a lie.
Destroy and uncreate all that.
Yeah, everywhere that you've bought and sold a lie that you require, need, deserve, anything I haven't mentioned, any kind of limitation, will you destroy and uncreate it all? Right, wrong, good, bad, POD, POC, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds. We're down to 1:30. Everywhere that you've decided that you have any limitation on being an infinite being of light because you're in a human body, will you destroy and uncreate all of that?
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, POD, POC, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Althea, do you have something before we go?
Oh, the other thing is maybe stop judging yourself for all this too. There's a lot of judgment toward yourself about even doing this.
No, he shouldn't do that.
Yeah. The wrongness of you is the strongness of you.
Right.
And yeah, so it's this energy of pushing against it, the resistance. So just be nice to yourself. I mean, we cleared a lot out. You let a lot of it go. So just be nice.
Sounds good. Thank you, Emma and Grant, for calling and
thank
chatting.
You guys.
And...
See ya.
Yeah, my pleasure.
You.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Got to figure out the timing on this.
Be authentic, Diane.